We've been playing a lot of Smash lately,
And we want to make something to store our Amiibos.
but we only have time to make one. Play for it?
Samus wins!
Well, guess I won. We're going to be making an Amiibo holder in the shape of the capsule from Super Smash Bros.
Doesn't that look like the capsules from Dragon Ball Z?
We're on to you, Sakurai. We couldn't really find anything online that sort of matched what we were looking for, so we'll have to design this one ourselves. And seeing as I won, we'll make it fit my Samus Amiibo, because she's the best.
David starts by sketching the shape of the capsule. He then takes measurements of the Amiibo using calipers to add to the sketch. He also takes measurements of the magnets. You'll see where they come into play later.
Once I have all my measurements and my sketch is complete, I can bring it into Fusion 360 to create a 3D model that we can use for printing. Now that we have the model, we can run through a couple prototype tests. It's always important to do a couple tests because you'll have to adjust your model to make sure that things are fitting well. The nice thing about 3D printing is that you're able to quickly print out a prototype to make sure everything fits together before you move on to final printing and assembly. We did this a couple times just to make sure everything fit together well. These prototypes allowed us to adjust our 3D model to make sure everything was perfect.
Now that David's got all the files ready, we're going to gather up our materials. As always, we'll include links to these in the description below.
We're doing things a little bit differently this time in that we're printing some of the parts in their final color so we won't have to paint them later. You'll see these black and these gold parts are actually just going to be like this in the finished product and it'll give it a cool effect. Remember those magnets from before? We actually embedded them in the print so this will actually magnetically seal itself. This is a cool trick you can do with some printers and we'll have James walk you through it.
As part of David's model, he left cavities for the magnets. Using Prusa Slicer, we actually set up a color change. So the printer will stop and prompt us to switch the filament. But we're not actually going to switch colors, we're just going to stop it, put the magnets in, and then resume, sealing the magnets inside. We have a link to the right size magnets below. Make sure to put the magnets in with a matching polarity. We marked them with Sharpie to know which side was which.
The overall structure is pretty much two sets of shells. We have the inner shell that's being printed black and the outer shell that we're going to sand down and paint more traditionally. Don't worry, James. We still have some parts we need to sand. It's always my personal preference to print any parts that are going to be separate colors as separate pieces. It just makes painting later a lot easier. Let's get these pieces ready for painting with a little bit of sanding. Don't forget to wear your respirator. As always, we'll start with a rougher grip and keep going up a little bit finer and finer each time to get rid of those layer lines, make everything perfect for that smooth painted surface.
We're going to use an automotive filler primer to fill in any gaps and then sand again. As with any 3D printed project, the more you sand, the nicer finish you're going to get. The amount of work you do now will be directly reflected in the paint job. Make sure to spray it off between coats of primer and the final paint.
Failure!
Now we're going to move on to 400 grit.
Our lucky followers got to see this extended scene on Facebook and Instagram. Be sure to give us a follow for exclusive content and sneak peeks at upcoming videos. There's something about a glossy paint job that just makes things look so professional. This is a fun project because we have a mixture of painted pieces and just printed color pieces.
It was really hard to find the accurate paint colors for this project, but we think we matched it pretty well. We put the links below.
To give the platter that the Amiibo will sit on just a little bit of extra flair, we decided to use the same trick we used with the magnet to print this in 2 colors, but we actually switched the color. Again, using Prusa Slicer, we set up a stop here so the printer would prompt us to switch out filament. We switched out for a gold filament to really give contrast to that Smash logo. If you were doing this and you didn't really feel like switching it, you could easily paint this or just print it all in one color. The model has a small lip that the platter sits on. We're using a little CA glue to hold everything together tightly. Assembly is pretty straightforward for the whole capsule. Seeing as it's a circle, there's really no front or back to it, so gluing pieces in is pretty low stakes. You can use a little bit of activator to instantly set your glue. This little plug was created just so I really didn't have to have any extreme overhangs and print with supports. This just gets glued in place to close everything up. You can also use a ton of activator and run out and have to get more before the next video. David, this is a reminder to get more before the next video. Don't forget to scratch your painted surfaces before gluing them together so you're not gluing paint to paint. Don't glue this little bit on just yet. We're going to be doing some vinyl decals, and we want this surface to be flat.
To create the decals for the lettering, we're going to be using our Cricut. David went ahead and used Illustrator to create the artwork that we needed. It was then sent to the Cricut to be cut out of black vinyl. We used a little bit of clear transfer tape to transfer the letters onto the capsule. David used a folding bone to smooth out any bubbles. Here we're marking the center for alignment. The red mark will not be transferred. Just doing a quick check. Then the back is peeled off of the vinyl. And the decal is applied. Hey, you missed one. Now we can glue the final piece in.
I'm super happy with how this came out. It's so cool to see something that started as a sketch, became a 3D file, and we actually were able to print. There's something about putting precise text on something that also just makes it look so much more real. We'll have these files available for download so you can make your own.
The magnets actually hold it together really well. It was surprising considering the weight of it. And I also really like this accent on the inside. I think I like the inside more than the outside.
Yeah, I think it's actually really cool because a lot of things that you end up making, the insides kind of look okay. But with this one, it's actually a really 360 immersive prop. Every angle of it just looks beautiful and finished.
It's also cool we can put our Amiibos in there. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.
See you in the next one. Oh, and congratulations to the winner of our Mando helmet giveaway, and thanks for everybody who participated.
We're sad to see it go, but happy to give it a new home.
Congratulations! Selection.
Oh, and we didn't forget about your favorite character.
This container is suitable for
Continue.